Welcome to episode 199. Jan Koum, creator of WhatsApp, from Ukrainian immigrant on welfare to billionaire. This is an outline of episode 199. There are two reasons why we study Jan Koum. First, he started as an immigrant who could not speak English at age 16 to become billionaire at age 37. Second, WhatsApp in 2017 is the world's most popular app with 1.2 billion users in 109 countries. He was born to Jewish family in Fastiv, Ukraine in 1976.
Pequeña villa a las afueras de Kiev.
Ukraine was one of the poorest countries in Europe.
Para evadir las tácticas represivas y antisemitas de la policía ucraniana, él y su madre decidieron emigrar sin que su padre pudiera.
16-year-old Jan and his housekeeper mom decide to move to America. Dad, he can't afford to come. And to save just a few pennies more, they fill a suitcase with Soviet-issue pens and notebooks so this boy would have supplies at his new school in glorious California. They land in Silicon Valley, where mom gets a job and then gets cancer. And they survive on her disability insurance and food stamps. Jan gets in a bit of trouble at school, but at the same time, teaches himself computers with manuals from the used bookstore.
Koum started at San Jose State University, and worked for Ernst & Young as a security tester. While on a job at Yahoo, Koum met Brian Acton. Each liked the other's direct approach to situations. Koum got a job at Yahoo as an infrastructure engineer.
Diagnosed with cancer, his mother soon passed away in 2000. He was 24 and both of his parents had died.
He enrolls at San Jose State, but then drops out when Yahoo calls with a good job. And there he befriends a guy named Brian, who takes him under his wing when Jan's mom passes away.
Jan Koum and Brian Acton both left Yahoo in 2007, and both also tried to work at Facebook, but both were rejected. In 2009, Koum observed that the Apple App Store was about to boom.
Why we started WhatsApp? It actually started as a project for me to learn iPhone development and kind of figure out how iPhone works. I really didn't want to get a job. I'll just tell people that I'm an iPhone developer and they'll leave me alone. We started playing with this idea of integrating your address book and integrating. It started very simple. We made a beta and got like 10 of our friends to use it. You know, when you go from 0 users to 10 users, it's like a huge thing, right? It's like you went from nothing to something. It's like a binary. And then we submitted it to Apple Store, and that worked. It was like, okay, well, now I have people who I don't know using the product. That's even more exciting.
While talking about new app ideas with friend Alex Fishman, Jan Koum chose the name WhatsApp. Jan Koum incorporated WhatsApp Inc. on the 24th of February 2009, which is also his birthday. WhatsApp is intended to be a play on the phrase, "What's up?"
Here are the 3 mantras of WhatsApp as written down by Brian Acton. No ads, no games, no gimmicks.
Thus, WhatsApp was born. In the initial stages, WhatsApp was unstable, and had a small user base. During a game of Ultimate Frisbee with friend Brian Acton, Jan was encouraged to continue the WhatsApp project and not to give up. When Apple released push notifications on their devices, Jan jumped on board with the idea. This allowed WhatsApp users to send status updates straight to their friend's device and grab their attention. The WhatsApp user base grew to 250,000 people. Acton collected $250,000 in funding from some friends he knew while at Yahoo. Acton was now in.
I think the biggest thing that struck me about them was they were trying to build a global company sitting in Silicon Valley. So they didn't care about, they were not building a product for Silicon Valley or the US. They were actually building a product for India and Brazil and Middle East and Africa and everywhere else. And coming from India, having grown up here, their passion to connect billions of people was something which really resonated with me.
So is it that they were using even low-tech technologies to connect with people? So what about their approach was global? Because a lot of big companies are also global.
Yeah, great question. They started looking at low-end phones way before anyone else started looking at low-end phones, right? Because they knew countries like India and Brazil and Africa, people can't afford an iPhone or a high-end Samsung phone, right? So we supported Nokia phones very early. We supported Blackberries. We supported low-end Android phones very early, like 3-4 years back, when nobody was actually paying attention to that, right? Because for us, if our product needs to connect 1 billion people, you should not be able to. You should not think about what your friends use. You should just install the product and you should be able to use it, right? That's called ubiquity, right? If you're building only for iPhones and Android, you lose that edge. So for them, it was important to connect everybody in the world.
Jim Goetz, from venture capital firm Sequoia, persuaded WhatsApp to accept $8 million in investment to help them reach their potential.
In 2014, Facebook acquired WhatsApp for $19 billion. WhatsApp had only 55 employees and lost $138 million the year before.
In February 2014, Facebook bought WhatsApp for $19 billion.
And then Mark Zuckerberg calls. And at the Facebook founder's house, over chocolate-covered strawberries on this Valentine's Day, they strike a deal. And this week, along with their main investor, the guys make a symbolic trip back to the social services office where Jan used to line up for food stamps, and they sign the papers that make these guys billionaires.
In 2014, there was the largest tech acquisition in history. Here's what Mark Zuckerberg, CEO of Facebook, says about the acquisition.
By itself, it's worth more than $19 billion. I mean, it's hard to exactly make that case today because they have so little revenue compared to that number. But I mean, the reality is there are very few services that reach 1 billion people in the world. They're all incredibly valuable, much more valuable than that. So I mean, there's a chance.
They're halfway there already.
I could be wrong. I mean, it's like there is some chance that this is, the one service that gets to 1 billion people and ends up not being that valuable. I don't think I am.
What have I learned today? First, in the early days, as Jan led in the United States as a 16-year-old boy, he was on welfare and in quite a bit of trouble at school and with his girlfriend. After the death of his mom in 2000, he worked with his best friend, Brian Acton, at Yahoo. He also dropped out of San Jose State University. In 2007, Jan Koum and Brian Acton both quit Yahoo. In 2009, they developed WhatsApp. And in 2014, they both became billionaires when WhatsApp was acquired by Facebook. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and leave your questions and comments below. My next video will be Jan Koum, 10 lessons. Wishing everyone peace and prosperity.